Okay, good morning. Happy Friday to everybody. All right, so welcome to another end of week session. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is June 4th, 2021. And let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with our SPY. We did see a gap down open yesterday's session, and we saw a bit of a fade into some daily moving average support. We caught ourselves on the 20-period moving average. This is pretty typical of a trending market. We do have a bit of a flattening of the 20-period moving average, so it's not acting in the same respect as other trending structures of the market. But overall, we see that the price likes to return, sort of check back at certain price areas. And when it does this, we look to see what sort of reaction did it have. Was it a significant one, or was it sort of a weaker one? So far, so good. We did see a strong bounce. And as we dig a little deeper, we see that we're still respecting our inner ranges that we have drawn. We do see that these previous swing highs are acting as an area of support. We actually did catch ourselves on the 200-period moving average on the 4-hour, and so far so good. We're still somewhat consolidative in nature. We also want to look at just our shorter term volume profile and just note that markets often like to check back at value zones. Whenever the market does this, we simply want to note it. We want to say, okay, the market is confirming that value still exists in this range, and coming back to it, we're looking for new bidders. We're looking for buyers to step in and say, okay, wait, we've tested upper ranges. Let's check back at value. Once we're at value, can we move away from value once again? So this oscillation that we talked about yesterday facilitates a more trading range environment. Yes, the market is still bullish on higher time frames. Yes, we do still have a lot of structure that indicates we may go a bit higher in the SPY. But as far as shorter time frames, it has been more advantageous not to just think long, but to fade highs and buy lows with respect to value, which is sitting roughly in the 417 to 418 area. And what you've been able to do, if you've taken advantage of that, is the move away from value has brought you back, and the move at value, as long as it sets up correctly, can lead you away from value, albeit not breaking the trading range. So you can sort of play low to high or low to mid, and then hold for the potential for higher. And equivalently, you can look high to mid. We will see if this midpoint, which the target has been achieved for the fade strategy, we'll see if that leads to additional downside and another move away from the zone, or if the market will catch itself and basically look for a breakout at that time. We obviously want to see this upper range break down before we can even consider that possibility, because right now things are proving more to the upside than to the downside, which was more indicative of this double test and this more volatile sell-off that we got away from value. So where are some spots that we can look at to see, is this more likely to the upside or the downside? I would say that the cues are still giving us a bit of concern when it comes to a more bullish thesis. What we're seeing in the cues is, once again, that sort of upper, lower, and in this case, a mid-range where value is being placed in multiple points, but the market is bouncing between these value zones, testing them from above and from below with different strategies in between to sort of capture some of those oscillations. We see that the 20 and 50, not only are they crossing, but we also just have a bit of chop. Things are relatively flat overall on the daily time frame. And we are putting in what is equivalent to a daily lower high. And this was this previous swing high that we saw from the bounce. So at this time, this range is pretty large to work with. We have, 342 to the upside. We have about 305 to the down, or sorry, 315 to the downside. And since we're sitting, roughly midpoint between the largest trading range that we do have, we're basically just trying to see, who's in control and where does value sit in this range. The 4-hour doesn't really give us much clues as well. We do see a leaning over 200 period moving average. Obviously, there was some weakness in the Qs yesterday as we were at this point of consolidation. Market was building energy inside of a very tight range. And we saw some failed breakouts prior, indicating that maybe there wasn't enough buying pressure to lead us to move away from this range. Usually, if you fail to break out, the more likely scenario is that you return into the range. And if you move away from the breakout point, another likely scenario is that you back test the low end of the range. You basically fall back through where you came from. So at this time, it is not unreasonable to think that we can come back to test the lower end of the range, as we did see some significant drop off in the Qs. And I would say more conservatively, we would look maybe to our volume profile. We'd see if there's any additional considerations when it comes to volume profile. And I would say that we are moving away from value at this time. So if the market cannot catch itself to check back, this becomes a more move away from value and targeting lower ranges that have reacted in the past. Obviously, we've already started this transition, so it was more advantageous to essentially define your risk prior to this breakdown, but there may still be an opportunity as we pull back test value and then potentially fade for that final move down. So obviously, different market, different structure. The SPY is holding better than the Qs, which has been sort of the general thesis for the past couple of weeks. But we want to see a strong SPY, and yet we have a relatively weak Nasdaq. So in moments where the Nasdaq is a bit oversold, yet the SPY is holding, there may be breakouts or potential moves higher using different sectors, using different relative strength stocks that are currently at or near all-time highs, versus something like the Nasdaq, which is struggling to even clear this mid-range price point. So different scenarios, excuse me, different things to take advantage of, but similar concepts throughout. If certain things occur, and if everything is lining up in one direction at one time, that can lead to our more bullish scenarios. But if things are fighting us, we get a lot of chop. We get a lot of back and forth oscillation as different sectors hold different strength and different weakness each and every day. That's kind of what we've been dealing with for quite a while at this point. And then as we shift into our IWM, similar idea, we are still trading in this range, although we did get a nice extension from low to high. We're seeing a little bit of resistance so far at previous swing high resistance zones. And so far, a lot of the volatility that we've been seeing in growth and certain key names has led to IWM having a bit of a stellar outperformance over the past couple of sessions. We haven't really seen too much in the way of a pullback until we hit our swing high target. So that was sort of a nice play from low to high, facilitated by a bit of a change in the market tone. The 4 hour shows sort of that trending structure that did form. We were able to follow things like the 20 and 50 period moving average higher. We hit our sort of general target. We do expect some pullback and volatility at resistance, just normal support and resistance reactions. But so far, I would say this one actually looks like it's trying to build some energy to try and get out of this range. Certainly very nice sort of V-bottom approach. And usually with a large retracement, this could bring in more interested buyers to potentially look for higher highs. So a bit of structure change in the IWM, but the overall thesis remains the same. Regardless of your time frame, there is a lot of value sitting at 220 to 221. So if you're playing this fade strategy, high to low, low to high, the most likely scenario is to check back at value. And if we look just at a 1 hour time frame, value has slightly moved in this perspective, but 2 hours still shows value much lower, about 221 as noted. So, you know, obviously that sort of pullback would still be viable if you're looking for higher highs in the IWM. But so far, the IWM hasn't really shown us the right setup for a breakout. It's simply been checking back and forth, much more distributive in nature than setting up for a breakout amongst a strong trend. And then finally, just a quick check at our Dow. We did not look at that yesterday, so I figured it was worth mentioning. Dow, similar concept and structure to the SPY. We do see that the 20 likes to be respected so far. We are sitting roughly in that sort of mid to high trading range on the Dow. And we did come back and fill a gap, which was a nice reparative operation that we got whenever we formed the gap in the first place. That's sort of this range here. And let's see if I can just make that a little bit brighter. There it is. We'll just color it, I don't know, blue. That gap structure right here. Coming back to fill that back up, pulling back into and below the gap, and then now setting up for a potential breakout once again using the daily structure overall. Obviously, with the overall market condition somewhat tentative, looking for breakouts in the trading range, we still have to respect the fact that we haven't fully gotten out of this area, but volume is indicative that there is something potentially setting up here. We want to use this previous daily range as sort of a key. If we can get above it, obviously look for higher targets. If we get below it, that's a warning sign that the setup is really falling apart. And a large volume day, a large range in the volume day itself can lead to more downside, as the buyers who did decide to step in yesterday would start to stop out to the downside. 4 hour, you know, roughly the same look as the SPY. We're holding in this upper range. The range definition isn't quite as clear because the upside sort of buying climax in the Dow was much larger than the SPY. So it's less of a previous resistance and more of just trying to build some energy along this stair-step pattern. And then our 30-day volume profile look, we see that value sitting slightly below. We are trying to move away from it. We did somewhat check back at it yesterday. I would say that as long as we're holding yesterday's range, you know, the targets are still more to the upside based on the structure. So one thing that we want to see, what are some sectors that may help us get to higher high targets? We see that the financials are still making new highs amidst a market that is in a trading range. So while certain things are rotating, strong and weak, financials certainly stand out as strong, getting stronger. We've yet to close at a new all-time high. We've made new all-time highs, but we haven't closed at one. So I'm still keeping this on watch. But overall, there's simply nothing structurally wrong with this uptrend. We haven't seen really any significant warning signs yet. And obviously, there's not a lot of fear in this market, as most of these pullbacks have been bought to great success. Energy making a new relative high, not necessarily all-time high, amidst a larger sell-off in the energy market. But we are starting to really get above some more larger time frame zones where the market did pause in the past. We're starting to clear above, and then we have just some general weekly 200 period moving average. I would say that there's obviously this flat resistance here that we're trying to get to. So remaining cautious to the fact that there's not a lot of space to the upside, but in the short term, we have a very bullish setup breaking bullish. So try not to get too, I would say, sized in to something that has some additional resistance to get through. But if you were paying close attention to the energy market, you could easily set up some short-term trades in this zone, as this market was quite strong leading up into this setup. And so far, so good. There's still potential upside in this breakout, so long as that resistance doesn't give us too much trouble. So financials, energy, industrial still holding, so nothing really of concern as of yet. We're seeing just little pullbacks and similar sort of, I would say, roughly indecision, but holding at the right zones on the daily, similar to the SPY and the Dow. Some interesting changes in structure yesterday. The consumer staples had a very strong day. So while we have some strong sectors simply getting stronger, consumer staples is actually looking for potential breakout. Obviously more of a risk off sector, and we'll talk about how the dollar may have facilitated some of that movement. But we simply want to play the charts in front of us, and consumer staples so far has had some nice trend sort of grab candles at the 20 period moving average. That has led to some significant moves to the upside. I would also say utilities, another risk-off sort of bond-esque type of market, seeing a bit of a bid yesterday. We'll talk about, once again, the dollar maybe facilitating some of that additional rotation into more risk-off assets, not necessarily a fear rotation, but more of a protective rotation. And obviously moving out of this sort of chop zone where we do have some clear ranges to work with, we're trying to see if this is just, once again, another flag structure with a more larger sort of upside target if it is to break bullish. And finally, some, I would say, odd standouts that are not necessarily making strong higher highs. We saw the healthcare sector setting up this range, but similar to how the Qs reacted, we're seeing a lot of failed breakouts. And we simply want to note that if we're in a range and we continue to try and move outside of the range and fail, there is likely a lot of value somewhere in the middle of the range. And the strategy is to simply fade some of those highs, look for that midpoint to be hit. And then obviously if you're in a more, I would say, deconstructive setting, you're looking for it to actually test the low end of the range and potentially lower on a breakdown. At this point, we may be looking at a breakdown, but this is a lot of value for the market to sort of move away from. I would actually think that a fade back into the mid-range is probably in the cards before we get something more significant to the downside. Obviously, looking at the 50 as sort of a guide. And once again, yesterday's range is really key. If the more likely probabilistic scenario does not work, then that breakdown could occur simply because yesterday set up a potential buy opportunity for some markets. If those buy setups fail, more and more buyers will start to stop out, and that can lead to just general lower prices as the price is in search of value. And obviously with the Nasdaq, very similar structure. The XLK, not very strong, seeing a lot of resistance above. We're still in the mid trading range, so there's always opportunity throughout these smaller time frames, but we do want to recognize that in a market that is nearing all-time highs, albeit the SPY, certain other sectors and certain indices are not in those same postures. So if there is ever fear or selling or anything significant, it may hit this sector harder than other sectors which have held up amidst some volatility. And I would say it's very similar to XLK, which is tech, XLY. Obviously some notable news with Tesla leading to a pretty massive sell-off yesterday, and just a general lack of follow-through as we see previous swing high sort of buying climax into a sell-off that is still acting as a supply zone. This market is having trouble getting above this previous swing high, and amidst a period where it attempted to get above, it actually failed and fell back through. So just want to keep these things in mind, more on the shorter term time frame swing criteria and scenarios, and it helps you understand what your risk tolerance could look like. If this fails, it is possible to come back and check at where we bounce from. That is sort of the maximum risk that you are accepting stepping into something like a long position. So it gives you sort of a clue as to how bad could it get before we see any sort of significant buying support. Because amidst this, there's really no structure to hold us in place. So one thing that did occur yesterday, we've been talking about it significantly. The dollar, of course, had that sort of alternate scenario where, as this downtrend has been sort of perpetuating itself over a period of about a month and a half, we hit a zone of previous support. The market was moving sideways, and we get what we call in some accumulation structure sort of a spring scenario, where in a range, typically you're looking for false breakdowns and false breakouts, breakups, breakdowns, doesn't matter. The idea being that the market is saying this is sort of where value is. I can't move lower and I can't move higher at the moment because I'm accumulating for some reason, or I'm distributing for some reason. And we're trying to figure out as traders, directional or otherwise, which way they want to take the market. Are they simply pausing, or are they trying to move away from value against the trend? And in the case of the dollar, it did decide to move to the upside. Excuse me. We see that this move away was quite, strong. There wasn't really any pullback amidst the session yesterday. And in the larger scheme of things, this is just a retracement in the overall sort of weekly downtrend. But the fact that it is a retracement is something that we have to regard as a risk for any of our sort of long positional and correlated assets like the metals. So if you are long gold, if you are looking at crypto, which typically likes a more weak relative dollar, if you're looking at anything that is sensitive to aspects of inflation, and if you're looking at the dollar and seeing buying in the dollar, that can ultimately affect the equities markets at certain key points in time. The fact that the equities market hasn't really reacted very strongly yet, maybe certain sectors more than others, is a clue that maybe the correlation is not very strong at this time. But it is a first sign that the dollar is trying to change direction in the short term. And we certainly want to take note of it, just like anything else we look at. We also want to kind of get a sense for how high could it go before we ever see sort of a reaction. And I would say that, previous swing highs are a good idea amidst the overall downtrend. These are points where previous supply came into this market and pushed things back down. I would also use some general moving averages on larger time frames, since this is more than just a day breakout. It's actually more of a weekly breakout of the indecision candle. If we see continuation, we're looking at this relative zone and saying, okay, if the dollar wants to move higher, I expect it to move higher at least until we get to this spot. And at that point, we could see if anything does occur. There might be some oscillation in between. It might take a couple weeks, but ultimately we need to be prepared for that scenario. And if you're looking at correlated markets, one thing you can do is say, what did my particular correlated market do whenever the dollar was at these price levels? That'll give you a sense of the risk that may be associated if the dollar were to have a lot of continuation. And obviously, we're in a different structure and a different posture, but it gives you just a general idea of what to expect. So if we look at some of our previous swing highs, let's look at our February swing high. We'll say 2.4 to 2.5. Gold at the time was sitting roughly in this range. So roughly about 1,800, which tells us that if the dollar is heavily correlated and we see continuation, gold may have potential to pull back into this range before we see once again sort of either continuation or just more reaccumulation. So high to low scenarios, we've gotten a nice trend on gold so far. We saw a pretty significant pullback yesterday, but that pullback just may be getting started because the dollar just got started breaking out. So that's the idea here. You don't want to necessarily step in too early. You want to use other areas of interest like the general trend line. But if things really do continue, you need to be prepared for downside up until these price points. And the whole idea behind this is that you either take profit, you hedge, you look for other opportunities while things are pulling back, you buy and hold, depending on your time frame. There's all kinds of ways to protect against these shorter term scenarios amidst a larger, investment or trade opportunity. And this is why we've been harping on this for about a week and a half so far, is because gold was getting to some key levels, but it really didn't react until the dollar broke out, which tells us that that correlation is still quite strong. It's an inverse correlation, but it still matters. And same idea with silver, pretty strong sell-off day. We did break trend. There is some potential to come back into some previous, I would say, mid-range support zones. Think maybe the 50-period moving average on the daily. This is with a strong dollar. And obviously, same idea. You want to look at silver amidst this time frame. And it looks like silver was sitting right at this sort of general area of support. So the lower end of this this range right here. So same basic idea. This gives you a sense of the downside risk. So I think that's pretty much it. We've talked about a couple of key sectors, still not seeing a lot of fear in this market. We're still seeing selling in tech and discretionaries, very notable selling in certain key names. ton of volatility out there with the GameStops, the AMCs, the BlackBerries of the world. Obviously, a lot of trading opportunity amidst all of that. But in the overall market conditions, we're still in a trading range. We're still trying to test this value zone. And ultimately, some of these markets are setting up for higher, while some of them have a lot more proving left to do and are actually facilitating the chop that we're seeing, the back and forth. So obviously, keep your wits about you. Notice these correlations. This will help you protect your profits, especially in the scenario of a much larger breakout or breakdown. You certainly want to protect yourself in the short term and allow yourself the opportunity for the long term. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Happy Friday. Trade safe. Stay tuned for pre-market prep with Carlos and Norm. And obviously, we'll see what the market has to give. It looks like some activity is already going. Usually, right as I end the session, a lot of activity starts up. So take it easy. Trade safe. We'll see y'all next week.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. I hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, brother. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Happy Friday, guys, as we end the week here. And we already see the SPY doing some pretty cool things at the moment. Norm, is anything really going on right now?
Yeah, huge things going on. We've mentioned a couple of times this week. We had a big jobs number for May come out this morning, just came out 3 minutes ago. Non-farm payrolls were expected to come out. If you remember 2 months ago, we had a really big number that came out. Last month, we were expecting it was around 1 million, and it came in at like 250,000 new jobs. For May, we were expecting 650,000. It came in at 559, with the unemployment rate dropping a little bit to 5.8%. So that is what caused this move. Thinking that this will, my guess is thinking that this will cause the Fed to sit on their hands and not start raising rates and tapering QE and such. So big stuff on that front.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's take a look at what we had yesterday on our list, starting over here with Workhorse. Let's go back to yesterday's action. Here we are. It's a little bit choppy, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's a little bit choppy. This will be right over here. Yep. So a little bit choppy on Workhorse. We had other stuff that traded much better than this. So you can see here the action. You did get a beautiful pop, a nice little breakout. Then a lot of stocks did this. So they had a little pop, and then they kind of sold off on the next 5-minute candle. Some continued their downtrend. We'll look at those, but this one kind of just bounced around a little bit here. And again, it was just not really all that great, unless you took a really quick scalp out of breaking out of some of these levels we had here. We have 1573. Look at the continuation. It went right through that level, all the way up to almost, not quite, try to get to 1859. It did that on the opening of the next candle, right? So you don't see that wick here, But what's happening here is basically the next candle opens up, it does come up to almost that 1859, and then it slams down, right? So that's what you're seeing there. Here's TLRY, same situation, guys, did pop up a little bit. They give you a huge pop to 2194 and then slam down here below the VWAP. You did get a nice continuation on TLRY, and then you got a kind of a quick reversal of this great level, 1977. We knew that level was important. Look at that in the pre-market as well, in the market, after the market opened, that level was significant for TLRY yesterday. Here is Space. Space was, again, just another one of these choppy starts. It does get better later in the morning or in early afternoon. As you can see here, starts to trade a little bit nicer, beautiful downtrend, but the first part of the morning was a little up and down action here, up and above the VWAP. So very difficult to trade there. AMC, guys, was very, very active, as we know. A beautiful short here as it lost the VWAP, and you got a nice continuation on it. Lost the low of the day as well right at that time. We also had a level here at 53.01, and just look at the slam down all the way down to about 42 or so. Test all the way back up to the VWAP and then coming right back down to the low of the day. So if you're patient on this one, there were some good opportunities on it. Not easy stock to trade, obviously, with the way it's moving and the volume that is involved here, but they trade very nice. Even later in the day, you got a beautiful breakout as well. Again, right above this 53.01 level, comes up to that, uses that again as a support, and then just look at the breakout towards the highs of the day yesterday. NEO, guys, NEO was actually very, very clean, and we knew that NEO, it looked good in the pre-market. I know there's a lot of other stocks kind of pushing them towards the back burner a little bit, but we knew this was going to be nice. A little rough start to open, does pop up, comes back down. Here's where it starts getting good, guys. Breaks the high of the day here, uses that same high of the day as support, and look at this beautiful continuation. Nice ABCD pattern there of the 5. So that was a great breakout play on NEO. After that, it does get a little bit choppy. You're not getting much action, just some up and down here, then a nice sell-off towards the end of the day. But this here was very, very clean on NEO yesterday. BB, very similar to AMC yesterday, did pop up, try to get going, but again, these stocks are up so much, so they kind of giving some back a little bit here. They're the slam down here, kind of an engulfing pattern, very similar to AMC, and a nice continuation. Then from there, just trying to get to the VWAP and just cannot get above that. Another opportunity if you're looking for this to trade lower. Another opportunity here once it bounces off the VWAP, and it cannot stay above the VWAP, right? You see that very clearly there. If you're patient and watching the price action, you see every time it comes above this, gets slammed down, cannot make a new high. We talk about this a lot in our classes. Once you start seeing that, it could be a good indication this thing is going to head the opposite direction. So that is what we had yesterday. Let's take a look at what we have today. We kind of looked at the market already. Norm, is there anything else that you want to
I mean, that's about it. We've obviously got the meme stocks in play. We can discuss those a little bit as we go through those. They had trades on CNBC this morning, talking to him and Tom Sosnoff about the AMC move and all that. So we'll definitely see more action over there today. Yeah, that's about it, man.
All right, you got it. Guys, let's jump in here. Let's take a look at what we have on our list today. We'll remove yesterday's list here. And how about Tesla yesterday? We were talking about that in our chat here with the moderators. Tesla yesterday just taking a huge drop a little bit later in the day here. So interesting, this drop here on Tesla just getting killed. So right now they're only up 1.3. But I think Tesla's worth watching today. It's not on our list right here at the moment, but I think this is an interesting drop here that we can definitely take a look at a little bit closer. Started with our gap up list today. NCTY, it is 8.3 million shares flow. We've seen this one pop up on our list before. It can be a great mover, so you want to be just a little bit careful with this one. We'll put this on here on our risky pile. It is a low flow stock, NCTY. So NCTY, we'll throw that right on there. Up 24% right now after a couple of just on a beautiful downtrend here, trying to find a little bit of a base here. I'm not sure if there's any news going on this.
Yeah,
there should be.
Yeah, they've acquiring a Canadian cryptocurrency mining facility. Okay. So they've been hurt recently. We've discussed some of the regulation going on in China with crypto. So they're moving positive on the news of that acquisition.
Yeah,
for the
that's
moment, at least.
Definitely going to help them quite a bit here, guys. So looking good. Pre-market action looks very good right now. Volume is great. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Here's a LEDs is a 2.4 float stock. And again, it's a hit or miss. I haven't seen recently anything great out of this one. Yesterday, it looks like it had a couple of great moves. Let's take a look at it here. Yeah, it did get going here. A little bit lighter on the volume. Again, I'm just concerned with how the price action is on this one. It does have a potential for continuation, maybe test that high of the day from yesterday. Let's put it on here. We'll take a second look at that one. AHT is up 5.7. Oh, this one here. All right. Oh,
yeah, it kind of sucks.
I just zoomed into today's actual pre-market action. That's horrible. Let's skip on that one. CCIV, this one very active right now, is up 3.7, 288,000 shares traded. The daily looks very interesting on this one for a possible breakout. We talked about this a couple of days ago as well when we had it on our list. Might have been yesterday. So we'll take a second look at it. Let's put it as a possible for now. VTNR, this one has been on our list quite a bit. The daily looks very interesting, guys, for a possible breakout here. We talked about this a few times. So yeah, I like the way this looks now. Pre-market action right now is up 3.1, 616,000 shares traded. Again, this daily, guys, is looking really nice for a possible breakout here. If we can get above this 10 area and go up to test that 11 or 1146 levels that we have here. So we'll put it on here for now. VNTR. We'll add that onto the list, VNTR. There we go. Let's take a look at Ford. Ford normally does not trade very well. Today, they're doing really good in their pre-market. They're up 2.7, 3.8 million shares traded. So definitely worth watching. Is that Ford F-150 out already with the battery and all that? Because I know that's...
they got an upgrade out of JP Morgan this morning.
All right, because that's a very nice looking truck. So we'll see what happens there. In play, guys, we'll have to see how great it actually trades, but we'll put it on here for sure. All right, Plug is making its way over here as well. They're up 2.2 right now. Volume is a little bit light, so I'll skip on it for now. I do like the daily here. We were consolidating above this 30, but doesn't look great right now. We can always come back to that one. Envis here today, guys, they are up 2.1, 130,000 shares traded. At the moment, pre-market action is okay. I like the consolidation also as well. Holding above this 17 area here that has become great support after being resistance for a couple of days here. So yeah, that could be nice. Let's put it as a possible for now. And this one could be very explosive. We've seen that happen quite a bit. All right, heading down to what's gapping down today, PSTH. And guys, excuse me for the background noise there. We have construction happening. My neighbor next door is completely building his entire house from again. I mean, he gutted everything, so it's going to be something real nice there. But 8 o'clock in the morning, these guys are out there hammering away. PSTH, what do we have here? Do not like the daily as much. And the pre-market action it's got volume, but even with 1 million, it is not great. So yeah, I'm gonna skip on this one for now, guys. AMC, yeah, I think AMC is definitely in play. Well, we do need to keep an eye on, so we'll throw that on there. Workhorse this morning. Let's see how that looks today. Workhorse right now, 952,000 shares traded. So they are looking very active right now. Dailies, nice gap up from yesterday. It can go either way here, guys, up or down. We can add this one to our list here. Maybe a possible. I don't see it great at the moment, but I do like the volume on it. RLX, this one, we had this one on our list before. We reviewed it. It doesn't trade very well. I don't expect anything great out of it now. The volume is very light, so I'm going to keep it off. I think for this Friday, we could find something slightly better. CAN this morning. This is, I don't think this is really in play. Right now, again, down 3.8, 165. Yeah, I don't see much going on here. I do like a possible breakout here, but again, we need to see some action out of this one this morning. EDU, guys, we looked at this one quite a bit before. It trades horrible. I think Chinese education company, and
yep.
Again, they're getting hit with tons of stuff.
I see the regulation issue. People are concerned about crackdowns in China on those.
And I see TAL also here. So again, just be careful with those. EXPR this morning, guys. This one here, what do we have? It doesn't look good. Is this Expedia? Oh, no, it's Express.
No,
this is
Express.
Yeah, so they don't trade very well, so be mindful of that one. I'd rather not keep them on my list this morning. Moxie, right? Moxie here. How has this thing been traded? Let's look at yesterday. Yeah, see, it's very weird price action, guys. So it starts off doing nothing. Then just out of nowhere, you get this insane breakout. What is this? $3 pop here, $3.50. And then just kind of dies down again. Volume goes completely away. This is not good intraday trading here. So just be careful with this. Yes, their daily looks amazing. It has a great couple of days here. A great run from 375 all the way up to 20, staying above 1125. But aside from that, if you look under the hood on this one, it just doesn't look great. So also 15.8, I didn't notice that, 15.8 million shares flow. So again, a little bit on the lower side. You want to be careful with this one. All right, that is what we have. Norm, anything you like this morning we might have not touched on?
I'm going to give you the, I'm still looking, throw it to the room. Somebody mentioned they wait for that line every morning from me.
Nice.
And there's two reasons I say that. And I say it more often because we've got longer term viewers and also people in here that throw out usually what I'm going to say anyway. So I don't steal their thunder. I let you take it from the room instead. That's number one. Unless I legit see something that I think is a little obscure and people won't look at. The other is maybe I don't see anything, or we've got a great list, which happens a lot recently, and I don't really have to dig and try to search that hard. So it's we've already talked about something. So anyway.
Absolutely, it makes perfect sense. I'll still keep asking because, like you said, if you have something, it's going to be one of those gems that is going to be good to have on our list. All right, let's start with Lori. Lori, you have a 3 on here. We'll give you a break and look at all 3. Usually we just look at the first one, but
we've already been through the list, and I feel like we just started, so it's pretty quick this morning. We've got a lot of time to talk to people.
Yes, we do. So here's Laura. You're giving us Oxy this morning. Oxy's not a whole lot going on. Possible continuation. I'm not sure how this would trade today. We'll have to see how the overall market is and this sector is this morning. But as far as adding to my list, I don't see anything explosive there just yet. Space, same thing. I see what you're looking at here. Now, Space, the daily here looks very nice. I know the volume right now is very dead. They actually traded well yesterday. This is yesterday's action. Actually traded very well later in the day, actually. A nice little drop here. Very great, good continuation, holding on to that 9 moving average. So that looks interesting. I'm going to add as a possible because we just need more volume on this one. And then you gave us Ride as well. We'll take a look at Ride. Yeah, it's just I see the pattern you're looking at here for possible breakouts all look great on the daily. This one just doesn't have great volume, so I'm not going to add it to the list. But I see the pattern that you're looking at there. That's a good one. NCTY we do have. Where's NCTY? Did we add it to the list? I thought we did. Oh, yeah, right here. Let me move this up a little bit. I have it down here, guys, because it is a low flow stock, so you got to be careful. But that is on our list. Work. Let's take a look at Work this morning. What's going on here? Not much happening with Work. I don't like this daily as much right now. Again, just no volume. So let's see what else we got. VTNR, we have that. Did I type that wrong somewhere? Oh, yes, I did. It's not VNTR, guys. So make a correction if you wrote this down. It is not VNTR. It's VTNR. There we go. Yep, that is the one we want. That looks a lot better. Thank you for that, Banu. Jimmy, what do we have here? No, let's look at a William, CL and E. All right, let's see what we got here. CLNE. There we go. Link this up there nicely. All right, so right now they're up 8%, 304,000 shares traded. Possible continuation, guys. Had a good day yesterday on the daily. Let's see how that actually traded. Yeah, the breakout here in the morning. Yeah, it could be good, guys. Possible though. Again, I'm not just too sure if we can get that same continuation today. Volume is okay. Pre-market action, not so much as far as price action, but worth taking a look at. I'm not going to completely scrap that one. Plug, yes, we did look at Plug earlier. I like the daily on Plug, and since we don't have a giant list, David from Connecticut, I do see, I could see this adding this to our list and see when the volume comes in, because you're going to get the volume. Plug is usually trading around above 35 million for the most part. So you are going to get some volume. Are we going to get a direction here? So I agree with you there. Worth adding as possible. I thought we were going to have a bigger list as we went through our gapping down list this morning. We do not. We can definitely add this one on here. NCTY is on the list. Neo. Let's take a look. Neo was great yesterday, guys. Right now they have a volume 495. Not up a whole lot this morning. Their daily though looks very good for a possible continuation here. If we can get back up towards the highs of yesterday and the last couple of days, a lot is going to depend also on the overall SPY. Are we going to continue on this push that we're getting this morning? So worth taking a look at. I do like Neo. Again, traded very clean yesterday, even though there was a lot of other stuff that looked better in the pre-market in front of them. They still managed to put in a good trading day. DKNG consolidating for the last couple of days. I don't see anything great as far as their pre-market for a breakout right now. So we'll need something to happen here, either a catalyst, either a strong move on this whole entire betting sector. I'm not aware of anything like that yet, so I won't add it to the list. Heading down. All right, yeah, we corrected that one. Hamish is giving us Piton. We haven't looked at this one in some time. Piton, here we go. And let's link our bottom charts. All right, so Piton this morning, not a whole lot going on. This daily is interesting though. Look at this, slamming right back down to an area of support that can now become resistance. You see that here. I'm sorry, slamming into an area of resistance that can now become support. So you see that there. Or a nice little breakdown. And if it breaks down, you have a great area here of support if it breaks through this around 97 or so. So that could be interesting. Pre-market though, guys, very light right now. So that's a little bit concerning as far as it being explosive for this market open. AMC hands, you're already trading it. Very nice. Yeah, AMC is moving nicely here. CCL, let's take a look. Is CCL in play? You're getting a little bit of a pop here right in the last couple of minutes. Not a whole lot of volume though for CCL like we like seeing. Their daily has been holding strong here above this 30-50. Will be nice to get a breakout. I just don't think they're really in play today. But again, we know this ticker, guys, so you know what that means. We'll be looking for this one in our scanners, or I'm sure someone in the chat will be watching it. We could take advantage of that. TLRY could be interesting. It is up 2.1, 551,000 right now. It can head up towards this 22 if it can get going. That could be a good possible. TLRY. All right, let's see. Just Paul. SENS. Let's see what we got here. This was up 30%, sitting on the American Stock Exchange. I always look at this because I feel like the American Stock Exchange, the price action is very weird. It's very different. It's different than the SPY and the NYSE stocks. And you'll always notice how you get tons of volume, these smaller price stocks, and then not a whole lot of movement. Like if you look at this, the range is only 308 to 261. So you're not getting great movement on this. And it tends to be like that on the American Exchange stock more often than not. And I don't really like trading those stocks with the way the price action is. So that's the only reason I'm not adding it on here. But just look out for that. I noticed that quite a bit on here. CCIV, we do have this one, and it's actually looking very nice. I think I'm going to move it up to our main list here, CCIV. And we're going to delete it from our secondary list because this is looking great right now. It's putting it in a nice kind of ABCD pattern here. A nice breakup for hopefully above this 24 area. And the day looks very interesting also. Heading on down, TIGR. We'll do a few more, guys. TIGR. Volume is a little bit lighter. I see what you're looking at. Possible breakout today, but the volume is just too on the lighter side for me to add on this list. X is good. Yeah, I like X today. Up 2.3. This should be on our gappers list. Yes, it is showing up right over here. Yeah, X is good. I love this daily here. I like the fact that we're trying to get up to this highs from the last 2 trading days. Yeah, I'm going to add X here. And X, not in the recent couple of days, but in the recent weeks has been trading very well. We've seen some couple of good movements out of there. Let's take a look at Docu. Docu could be one of those stocks that's very difficult to trade. So it's got to look really good. They have a nice pop. Looks like earnings yesterday or some kind of news. On Docu there. It's a nice pop today. But even with this news, guys, unfortunately, this is one of those stocks, and probably why we didn't touch on it, that it could be very difficult to trade. So be mindful. Now, I do like this pop here above this area of resistance. That does look great. I'm going to add as a possible for those that do like to trade this stock. I think it is in play. Just got to be careful with the way this one trades. All right, let's stop here, guys. And we will hop over into our... Oh, I was really behind. You guys are on fire today. This Friday, it's a lot of stuff being thrown out here. This is why you guys don't give Norm a chance. Jeez. All right, let's go over to YouTube.
I have to start coming up with tickers that don't exist or something.
Just start coming up with stuff, man. Maybe on a different market that we don't even watch or something. I don't know. Let's start with YouTube here. Seth, you're giving us Moxie, Mox. Like M-O-S, Mosey. Yeah, Mosey. I'm thinking of Mox Z, which is not it. Mosey here. And this one here, guys, is up 5.9. Light volume. And I really do not like the pre-market action on this one. So, again, we'll skip on that. I don't think it's really in play. Here is Twitter, interesting consolidation over the last couple of days. A little lighter on the volume, but definitely want to keep a lookout for. I'm not going to add it to our list. I just think it needs a little more juice here. But if it can get going, like a lot of stocks that we have on our list or looked at, right? We see this where, yeah.
I'll add that Mosey, it might be up big, but it's a low
Yeah.
float and it's trading less than 50,000 shares.
I didn't even notice it was
scary
low
as
float,
hell.
Yeah, so be careful with that, Masi there. Twitter, guys, Twitter, again, I like the consolidation. We saw a lot of stocks doing this as we were reviewing through our tickers. Again, just doing this consolidation over the last couple of days, deciding what is going to be next. But again, a lot of them have no great volume, no great pre-market action. So I'm keeping them off the list for now. If the SPY, here's the thing, if they get a catalyst and start running, then we will see some action now. We'll know about it. It'll hit the scanners, all good. If the SPY starts running, and some of these stocks that that are just kind of waiting for the market to push up, the Qs maybe, if this starts running, then you're gonna have tons of stuff that you're gonna be able to look at, right? So don't feel like you have to have this list that's 15, 20 tickers long to be able to catch a move. If things start moving, that start pushing Twitter, start pushing Apple towards the top, we'll know about it. I'm sure either we'll see it happening, or someone in the room, a moderator themselves, will even call it out. So just be on the lookout for that. We just can't have a list that's really long, but I do like Serge. I do like Twitter, the way it is setting up for a possible breakout. Maybe not today, but eventually. I think that looking pretty interesting. X we do have on deck, guys. That's looking very, very good. mRNA. Let's take a look here. mRNA. Wow, look at the daily on mRNA. It has done it with pretty quiet here. Hasn't really gapped up huge, but nice little run over to 200. Wow, that is pretty neat. So mRNA, yeah, could be interesting. I don't think it really is in play. If we just look at the overall information right now, up 1.6, 40,000 shares trade is very light at the moment. Let's see how they have been doing this. Yesterday was a good day for them. Look at yesterday. Yesterday was a very, very nice day for them. Day before that, you got one pop, and yeah, so they've been quiet in the pre-market, but I gotta tell you, they've been putting in some decent days. So don't put too much weight on this pre-market if they're going to be trading the way they have been. So maybe a possible here. We'll take a second look at that one a little bit later. PLTR, we did look at, guys, Facebook. Facebook, again, just kind of similar to Twitter, just chopping around, not a whole lot going on. So we'll skip on that one for now. If things get going, we can definitely take a look at WFC has an upgrade. West Fargo right now, up 1.2. Yeah, I was going to say that too. Very interesting daily here, consolidating for a possible breakout. 47.50, obviously a clear area of resistance. I normally wouldn't put WFC, but let's see if that upgrade does anything. We'll fine tune this secondary list shortly. There's a lot on here we can take off that don't look great. All right, guys, we'll have to stop here. BB, yes, let's look at BB, of course. Yeah, I think BB is going to be interesting to watch, guys. I have AMC already on here. They pretty much moved together yesterday a little bit here. So I'm just going to watch AMC today. This one tends to trade a little bit cleaner. The price action is a lot better on AMC too than BB, if you notice that. So I prefer this one. And AMC is starting to get going here. Volume starting to pile in really nice over the last hour or so. And you can see here, nice, beautiful push towards the top.
Take a look at one more. Tilray. TLRY. Yeah. It just started moving with some volume.
Oh, look at this. Look
Chris
at this.
And Ben called that out in the room. So
yep. I'm going to put this up over on, we had it in a second there. I'm going to put it up as on the main list so we can make sure we take a very close look at that one. So Tilray is getting some volume here, guys. And they have room to run. We have this 22 up here from yesterday that we might be pushing up against. And they've been doing very, very well since early May, guys. Got the support here. And then just look at the beautiful pop over the last couple of days, putting in some really good days in here. So, all right, excellent. Let's go to our community event and we'll come back and fine tune this list.
All right. Next week, you've got Jared. I know it says this week, but he had to move because he was feeling under the weather. He's going to be talking about how he does his engineering the markets and how he thinks about the markets and such. That'll be next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then the week after, we'll have Peter Tuesday at 8 p.m. talking about his mountain pass strategy. Dr. Reed's webinar is posted, and then next week, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. for psychology, we have Mike talking about handling the emotions of trading. Very important, very, very important topic. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day with entries and exits, of course, and then put any commentary you can to describe the trade and strategy. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bearable Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. We'll pick a winner for each day that we'll announce on Twitter and in the room. And then all of the trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week, which will be voted on by the team over the weekend and announced Monday on Twitter and in the room as well. If you're watching on YouTube or TradingView and you'd like to give the actual room a shot, use promo code PREMARKET24. It'll get you a discount off the 7-day trial membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Does not auto-renew or turn into any other kind of membership. And it also includes the live onboarding class that Carlos does every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We always say the weekend is a good time to sign up for that. That way you can kind of get a feel for the room a little bit on Monday, go to that onboarding class Monday night and learn, get set up and such, and learn about how BBT works. And then you have essentially the rest of the week to try out the room.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you once you sign up, you also have a few videos you can go through to kind of get started and set up. So it's a great idea to do that. All right, guys, let's dive in here. Let's start with our secondary list. Let's see what we have here, what we can remove. Mrna, this guy's been doing very well. Let's see if this continues. Look at this, green day after green day here. Even when it's gapping down, is manages to put in a green day. So it's been doing a nice little higher low here on the daily. So that looks very interesting. Here is Space. Space also looks good on the daily. I like both of those. We'll keep them out here. I know their pre-market action right now is not explosive. Space though, it is getting better. It's getting a little more volume here, as you can see after 8:30, 9 o'clock here. So that's good. Envis, I'm gonna remove this one. It has potential, guys, but again, I just think that we have stuff that looks a little bit better here, so I'll get rid of that one. Here is a Workhorse. Workhorse at the moment has a nice pop. Well, not a nice pop, but down 4.6 as popping from the low of the pre-market 1314 over to 1409 now. Could be interesting. You know, let's see. We'll come back to that one. CLNE, this one, I like the pop here. Possible continuation. Let's see if the volume continues, though. We did get a nice little couple of spikes over here, but after that, we haven't seen great volume in the pre-market. But let's see. Let's see as we're breaking out of this level if that attracts more buyers and more traders in this one. Plug could be a hit or miss. I do like the daily on that one. Docu could be interesting. Might be a little more difficult to trade. Yeah, I didn't remove anything, did I? Huh. All right, I got to go back here. So Mrna, I'm going to remove this one. Let's get rid of that one. Space, let's take a look here. Space could be interesting. Workhorse, I'm going to remove Workhorse. Let's remove Workhorse for now. We know that ticker, if it starts popping, we can definitely take a look at it. CLNE, I like what's happening there. Plug, I love the consolidation on the daily, and this can trade well, and we know it's going to get the volume. This is why I like this one more than the other ones. For example, we just saw one that looked similar to this one, or even better than this one, but we know Plug is going to get the volume and it can trade very well. So I like the possibility of that one moving nicely. Docu could be a hit or miss. I'm going to remove it from my list. Hopefully some of you guys are watching and have space on your list, and if you see something, say something. We'll take advantage of that. Not Workhorse. West Fargo here. It's okay. It's okay for West Fargo. Might not stay there after we run through this list. All right, let's look at our main list. Tesla, definitely interesting situation here under daily, slamming down towards this great area of support yesterday, which is the previous day close, and bouncing off of that a little bit. We are up 1.6 with 612,000 shares traded. Pre-market action is nothing exciting. We've seen better from Tesla, but after such a drop yesterday, I want to see what happens today on this one. VTNR, their daily is great. If we can stay above this previous day close and push higher, this can actually be really nice. Good pre-market action right now. We have a nice little range being built here with some good volume, 682. I want to see that continue. Ford, again, Ford is active, guys, but I am not a big fan of the way this one trades. Again, I could be wrong. They have 4.5 million shares traded this morning, which is not a big deal for Ford in the pre-market. These guys are usually trading very heavy volume above 70,000 on almost every single day, so it's not a big deal to have 4.5. But the way they're doing it right now, after such a nice day yesterday and gapping up again 2.7, that could be very, very nice. So again, just don't like that one as much for me personally. AMC is definitely in play. I love what's happening there. Let's remove some of the levels. We'll do some new ones. Neo traded great yesterday, so I have it here for a possible continuation. It didn't hold the pop yesterday. It did slam back down over here. So hopefully today, as it's making its way up, we can retest the highs from yesterday and this levels of the last couple of days. So we'll keep that on there. CCIV is good. How many I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one too many. Just got to get rid of one, push it down towards the secondary list. I like X, guys. Look at X right now. X is looking real good, setting up lovely. Pre-market is looking alive here. Volume is great. That one is looking very nice. So is TRY. Let's do this. 904. We got time to do levels for all these 7. We'll decide later which one we move down. So let's start with Tesla here, guys. So Tesla, great support. Your main support right now and level is this one. This is what we're looking at here. We slammed into that yesterday here after such a big red day. We have bounced from here before. There was one day we did trade below that. Didn't stay here for long, as you can see. Hop right back up above this. What is this? 570 or so. I'm blocking it with the arrow there. But in the few days that we did below that level, look at quickly, we did a wick and then we slam all the way back up again because we just don't like staying below here. So let's see if we can get a big bounce out of this one today. That would be great. High of the pre-market right now, we're looking at 584. We'll throw a level there. And then towards the bottom, again, you have this great support, as we just mentioned now, that previous day close, which is also your low of your pre-market. Lower than that, you do have a couple of wicks over here. I'm going to take this day here. Now, you might ask the question, why would I take 561.20 instead of this wick over here, which is closer to the price action, right? It's a little bit higher. And the reason is very clear. You have more touches on this one. You have 1 and 2. You have these 2 big bounces off of that level, so that's more important to me. And then you also have this day kind of closing around this area. So there's a lot more touches on this 561.20 than there is on this one single wick over here, right? So that's the reason why. You can still add it and, just put less weight on that level, on that support level. You can do that. But if this thing does start dropping, I will be looking forward to getting to that 561.20. That will be the target that I'll be aiming for. Towards the bottom, 547.18, the big low here, there's that one. And then towards the top, guys, plenty of levels, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, all in here. You do not need to add anything more. VTNR this morning, again, their daily looks very good, guys. They were non-existent for a while. Now, out of nowhere here, they're getting some volume, and they've been trading very well. So nice little daily here. And it is holding. It's not one of these stocks that actually went up here. And we spoke about this one, I think, on this day. And we said, guys, be careful. Usually the third day after the third day after a couple of days of a nice run here, moving up well over 50% or 100%, whatever this pop was. It can be very choppy, but it's managed to stay above 750. So that now starts making it a little interesting that this move is for real, and it thinks might stay up here for some time. So looks good, guys. Pre-market action is very active right now. We do have almost 700,000 shares traded. I'm gonna add a level here at 997. Towards the top, we do have the high of the last couple of days over at 1085. I do have 1146 here. That must be high of the pre-market probably for this day here. Yeah, that probably is high of the pre-market for this day over here. We're going to keep that on there, and at 1146 above that, just in case. So towards the bottom, just mark down the low of the pre-market over at 902 seems to be it. Yeah, right over here, 902. Let's get 898 actually. Let's get rid of just one. There we go, 898, and that's all you need for VT NR at the moment. AMC, guys, just again, don't have to say much about this one. It's been extremely active. Low of the pre-market 44.15. Towards the top, the high of the pre-market right now sitting at a 50.60 62. I'm going to mark it down to see if we struggle there, but I'll tell you this, we are struggling with this one here, 49.65. I'm going to throw a level there because we tested that a couple of times this morning, and we are struggling to get above that. So we'll see if we can break out of this one here. And then we have the previous day close above that. And then here, obviously, we have 58.08. And then we have the highs from the last 2 trading days. So we'll see. We'll see how much room we have to get back up towards these levels here as we break through that 49.64 there. Let's see if that's going to continue. We look at that. We're getting some action. So again, you just saw it now, right? We have a great resistance there. Breaking out of that, you're going to see people bail out if you were short, or people jump in saying, hey, we're going to go here. Let's jump in on this breakout. So AMC moving nicely, looking to go green. NEO at the moment was great yesterday, guys. I love this daily on NEO, which is continuing to stay above the support area. Let's see if this can get some momentum towards the upside. We got a couple of good levels up here above 42. That would be nice to hit again like we did yesterday. So I am going to just mark down the low of the pre-market here. And even then, there's not much weight you need to put on the 40.57. The real level here is going to be this one down here, which has kind of been staying above that, right? And then towards the top right now, high of the pre-market at the moment, 41.38. We'll throw a level there, and we'll see if we can manage to get above that towards that 42. CCIV here. So CCIV right back up towards this 24. So it struggled there a little bit earlier around 8 o'clock to get above that. We're slamming up against that right now. If we can get above that, we do have 24.50, the high from yesterday. And then towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, and your pre-market low, pretty much the low, the previous day close from yesterday. So not a whole lot you have to add on here. Let's see towards the top if we can get above this pre-market high right now, and also head towards yesterday's high, which is a great area of resistance, as you can see right on here, guys. Tons of resistance right around that level, so that could be tough to get above that. The next level, if we can manage to break through that, I kind of see a lot of touches right around here, 26.14. But you got to look out for 25. Obviously, you're gonna, that's a whole dollar number, 26 also. But as far as the daily, 26.14 seems to be the area where you have a couple of touches as far as a daily level. Here's X, guys. X looking really good right now on this daily, and also for a possible breakout. Pre-market action is nice. Volume is starting to come in here, so hopefully we can continue seeing more of that. 27.01 is a great daily. Above this pre-market high right now is pretty much where the high from 2 days ago is, right over here, right? High from 2 days ago is, we're slamming up against that. You can see that has been an area of great resistance for this stock, just all over the place, going back all the way to beginning of May. That 26.63 area where we're sitting right now in the price action, it seems to be a struggle for this stock. So let's see if we can get above that and stay above that. That would be nice. 27 is next level after that. And then from there, we're looking at 27.83, and also all the way up here. You can mark this one down, but you can also look out for this level here, 28.42. You have a couple of days opening right at this level, right? So that could be interesting as well, as we make our way up here, if that is what we want to do today. Towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days got you covered, guys. Do not need to add anything more. TLRY, let's see here. So starting to get going here, got some good volume. High of the pre-market at the moment, as we're seeing a very small pullback, 20.66. Above that, you have the highs from yesterday. So let's see if we can push up towards that. Let's go to the left a little bit here, because that's a big move from 20 to 22 on the stock that's trading at this price range. Let's go in here and see if we could find something in midpoint. Maybe right over here, 21.50. 21.50, got a couple of days opening and closing right around that area. Some wicks bouncing off that. So that could be a good level to just put some weight on that one. And then towards the top, if we can get above that, we definitely have a very clear level, guys, because just look how many touches you have on that 23.33. Just tons of resistance happening there, and even going back into March, right? So that's a good level for this one. If we can get going towards the bottom, you can see we are taking care of pretty well here. Just going to add the low of the pre-market. That's all you need to do. The rest is done for you. All right, that is what we have here, guys. A secondary list, we have Ford, we have Space, CLNE. CLNE is looking really good here. So that's looking nice. Plug, okay. West Fargo, so, but CLNE, that one might be a nice one today. That's starting to get going here with some good volume, so we'll keep a close eye on that. All right, let's take a look at our moderators lineup, guys. See what we have going on here. Let me resize this for you so it makes sense. And we'll bring this over. Oops. Here we go. All right, expand this here and bring this right over here. Okay. So we have, amazingly, no IPOs on this Friday. Mike is looking at Mrna and NVIDIA. Dima is looking at CCIV, NEO, X, and Apple. Brian is looking at TLRY, BBBY, PSTH, NCTY, AMC, and also BB. Eamon is looking at MRO, FUBO, FU2. Secondary list XOM.
It's Friday, so you're being
Yeah,
nice to
it's
me.
Friday. I'm gonna be nice. Gonna end the week right. Secondary list QS and Nvidia this morning. Tiffany's looking at TLRY, AMC. Secondary list Tesla and CCIV. Peter is looking at AMC, AMD, TLRY. Secondary list BB, Apple, and CCL this morning. Jerry is looking at AMC, BB, and a couple of Bitcoin plays there. Secondary list GME, not GMC, for his secondary list there this morning. So pretty good list. Oh, here's Thor with his list. Let's bring this back. Thor is looking at the SPY, the overall SPY, TLRY, NEO, Workhorse, AMD, and also CCL this morning. So good, excellent. Yeah, CLNE. This thing is starting to move here. We'll keep a close eye on that one. And I think we're all set, guys. Norm, anything we might have missed?
Somebody called out BBIG. It's on the border of low float at 19 point something. It's moving. It's interesting. It's a lower price if that's what you're into.
Yeah.
Not a bad pick.
Yeah, it's got some volume actually. Yeah, it's got some volume here. And actually, we have LEDs down here as well. They're not looking great. And NCTY. Today I'm not a big fan of these. This morning, so we'll see that can definitely change. Yeah, we did check Docu actually, guys. Docu is in play. I'll tell you this, Docu, for the way this stock trades, this is in play. If you like the way this thing trades, put it on your list. I personally do not like the way it moves. I don't like the spread on it. I don't like the volume that it gets. It's very light on volume. It can be very difficult to trade. But today, they're gapping up nicely, 7.3, right? And this is probably a great pre-market action for them. And they have a catalyst from last night. So again, just with all those things, they're hitting the trifecta, right? They're gapping up. They got great value for the way they trade because they only trade 2 million per day. They have 117 already, and they have a catalyst. But man, this stock just sucks at times. It sucks to trade. It can be real tough. So again, I'm making my decision not to add that one based on those things. But if you're good at this one, definitely add it to your list. Guys, happy Friday. Have an amazing weekend as we end this week of trading over on YouTube. Guys, take care. We're going to go over into our chat room and continue trading there. Brian is up next. Andrew's up next. They're going to talk about their watch list. Get ready for the market open and just have an amazing trading day. Be very careful. It's the end of the week, start of the month this week. So hopefully you're starting on the right foot. If not, you have a whole bunch of days left. The market does not end tomorrow. It does not close for the rest of the year. You can come back Monday, come back the following week.
Tomorrow.
Exactly.
It's Saturday.
So, right. So, guys, definitely take it easy. Do not need to swing for the fences. Just be careful with that and be mindful. This is a long-term sport here. This is not a sprint. It's a marathon. So be very, very careful with how you approach the markets today, especially if you're starting out the month and you're not doing it. You're not on the right side of things. And if you are doing well, be careful as well. Don't get overconfident, right? That's something can happen as well. Be cautious. Continue to do what's been working, right? This trading thing, guys, is very repetitive. And that can get boring, especially if you're not part of a community where Norm is involved and can make me laugh all day. So you gotta be careful with that, right? So very, very repetitive. Continue to do what is working for you over and over again. What's not working, scrap it and move on. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend. Hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button over on YouTube. We really, really appreciate it. It helps Norm and I quite a bit. Have an amazing weekend.
We get a penny for each like.
Yes.
And we split it.
Yes. And we go buy BYD burgers.
You might.
All right, guys. Take care. Trade safe. We'll see you guys on Monday over on YouTube. We're going to continue here in our chat room. Have a good one, guys.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.